So Shoujo Kakumei Utena, episode 1. She's at the school. There's a school.
Yeah, one thing I didn't realize is my previous, I guess for some reason, I always thought she was new at the school, right? Like, oh, who's this new person showing up? But actually, it's a new semester. So I guess she's been there for a while.
Shoujo Utena. あなたは新学期になってもそのへんてこな格好を続けるつもりです。
Or at least one semester.
There is some history of her there, even though she doesn't know any of these people. Like, it's interesting.
Weird how she's been there for a semester, but she acts like she's new, like she's never seen any of this stuff before. Like, she's like, Wakaba, what the hell is this? And Wakaba knows what's going on.
Well, here's the thing. If you really look at what's going on, notice we get all these shots of her like playing basketball and doing all these normal things, surrounded by normal people and having obvious normal friendships and normal relationships, but none of that is ever on screen. That is literally the background.
Yeah, when the guy's trying to recruit her for the basketball team, you know, he's not on screen at all. She's barely even on screen.
いいじゃん。男子みたいなもんだろ、天井は。
失礼なこと言うなよな。
じゃあ、なんで学ランなんて着てるわけ？
王子様だよ。
To save animation monies also, right? That's always a factor. I'm going to stop mentioning it all the time.
Yep.
But it is always a factor of thing not on screen, saving animation money. You know, and he's trying to recruit her for the basketball team. And that's another reason why I think she's new there. Because, like, you wouldn't be recruited in the second, but maybe basketball starts in the second semester.
Maybe he tries to recruit her every day.
Maybe, that's also...
Because she's really good at basketball.
Yeah, I mean,
But here's what's going on. She has a normal life. It's kind of established very simply that she has a normal life, normal friendships, and that is not the focus of the show. And it is not just figuratively, but literally in the background for the entire show. You will never see her that'll never rise to the surface. You'll never see her talking to normal people. So she has her normal friendships. Wakaba has her normal friendships. Wakaba also knows about this other layer of things going on.
あら、西園寺様。西園寺？知らないの？西園寺様を。有名人なんだ。
She's interested in it for reasons that were obvious in this episode. Utena had never paid attention to that. Episode 1 of Shoujo Kakumei Utena, if anything, is when Bilbo meets Gandalf and all those dwarves.
We are all at your service.
That definitely, I think, is pretty apt. But it's even worse than that, right? It's not just meeting Gandalf and all those dwarves.
Gandalf's here to fuck you up.
Right, he's already, like, on the way here, right? It moves. She already goes to the secret forest in episode 1, right? Bilbo doesn't make it to the forest until halfway through the book.
Yeah, the forest is sort of a symbolic threshold of this secret life, this other thing that's going on that she's just learned about. Mm-hmm. And it dominates her entire life. If you watch the show from this point forward, what's going on in that forest and why is the entire focus of her life from this point forward.
If you went to a school and the school had a gigantic forest that was in the back and no one was allowed to go in
I would be breaking into there day 2.
Exactly. No one's allowed to go into the secret forest in the back that's
day
gigantic.
1, I'm finding out if it's like a minefield or something. And then day 2, I'm breaking in.
That's the whole most important thing is what is in the secret forest. And that's pretty much 90% of the show is what's in the secret forest. And the other 10, well, not 90%.
She goes 60. Into the secret forest in the first episode and fights a duel with a dude for a rose bride.
Yeah, 60.
Who has a sword pulled out of her chest.
I say 60% of the show is what's the secret forest.
So one thing to pay attention to. Remember, we've seen the entire show. We're just trying to guide you in your experience. One, she's got this ring. And she has this memory, this vague memory, this fairy tale memory of being all alone in the world and this prince telling her to stay strong.
Well, if you look at the pictures, right, she was at her parents' funeral or crying at her parents' grave all alone in the world, right? And Utena's parents are dead. That's a true thing in the story. And she met someone who she thinks was what are the words?
Yeah, well, later, what she remembers is what he said to her. You can see we're even taking notes here. Yep. Never lose that strength and nobility.
Strength and nobility. Those are the words.
Important. Even if you grow up. Mm-hmm. Now think about what that means. She met this prince who is young, just like her, and he says that to her, never lose strength and nobility, even if you grow up. Think about a common theme in literature is the idea that childhood is coupled with innocence, and you become an adult when you lose innocence. You trade innocence for power. Mm-hmm. Is a prince someone who has power yet has maintained innocence?
Well, also the question of, this guy, this prince she met who smelled like roses and gave her a ring and gave her this message, right? He was young at the time. So he's telling this to someone, but at that point, has he himself grown up, right? Is he noble, and does he have strength when he's telling someone else not to lose strength and nobility?
But we do know one thing. She did meet him because she physically has that ring.
She has that ring. It's a physical object. She got it from somewhere.
And a bunch of other people in the school have the ring.
She has this memory, right? The same symbol on the ring is all over the school. The same smell she remembers smelling from...
この香りは バラの香りだ。いつからだろう、バラの香りに懐かしさを感じるようになったのは。
Because, you know, smell in real life, you know, smells are much more tied to memory than the other senses, right? So she doesn't remember much of meeting the prince. She was grieving her dead parents who died for who knows what reason.
Yep.
She remembers that smell, and she smells that smell at the school. She sees the symbol at the school. She sees other people with the ring at the school. So whoever that prince was that she definitely met a person is at this school or has some connection to it somehow.
Yep,
Right.
Otori Academy.
Yes.
Which is kind of shaped like a penis.
It's definitely shaped like a penis, but it only has one giant testicle, which is a forest.
Now, I just want to point out, this is think about the tower. There's this huge tower. The tower is basically the center of the university for all intents and purposes. Well, the high school, but whatever, the school. But the tower is featured very prominently in the overview of the school.
It's the landscape is shaped like a penis, and there's a penis going into the sky.
Never forget that tower is there, because that tower is central to a lot, and you'll see it in the background. People are in it doing things all the time. I mean, the student council, we saw the student council meet in this episode.
Yep.
Though you didn't get the elevator yet, so we can't talk about that yet.
Yeah, it showed the elevator opening, but it didn't show what they do in the elevator.
But
which
it did
you're going to
play.
see that about 100 times.
It did play the song.
急な呼び出しだね、生徒会の諸君。
西園寺さん、僕たちはバラの刻印により選ばれたメンバーです。掟を守ることは我々の唯一のルールだってことを忘れるの。
西園寺、近頃お前の花嫁の接し方には少々問題が。
へえ、そうなのかい。
確かに花嫁は今。
It did play the song. So the student council meets, they go up an elevator up to sort of a balcony. They're not at the top of the tower, but where else could they be where they have to go up so high?
They're clearly in that tower.
They're in that tower somewhere, just not all the way up. They're most of the way up.
So whenever you see a scene that doesn't really say where it is, try to figure out where on the campus it is.
Yeah, every scene actually, that you know, it's very rare there are any scenes in the show off the campus, and when there are, pay super attention. But even when they're on the campus, they're always somewhere on there, and you do get a shot in the first episode of what the campus looks like. So you can figure out where they are, and it has some meaning, and it's kind of important. You know, you might realize in some scenes, oh snap, those people were freaking like right next door to each other when that happened, or oh, that person walked past that, you know, stuff like that. They sort of pay attention to it sometimes.
So they have this duel or whatever. Utena's obviously a good person, but notice the scene where when she first sees Anthe, Himemiya, the Rose Bride girl, in that rose garden. The scene is washed out in white and you can't see the background. And then it fades in as soon as she smells the roses, and then it fades in and suddenly that's all there and Himemiya is there. Mm-hmm. Don't think that that's a coincidence. When I say don't think that, I mean don't think anything in the show is a coincidence.
Not everything means something. A lot of stuff is just there, but whatever it is, it was put there intentionally.
Yes, every single thing in the show.
Sometimes it was put there intentionally for no reason. Sometimes it's intentionally for a reason.
But everything there is intentional. There's a moment in a few, later on where a thing happens, and it's easy to be a viewer of anime and to think, oh, stuff like that just happens in anime. Anytime something weird happens in the show, you need to think about it like a real person. Really, what just happened there? There's a castle floating in the sky. What is that castle? What the fuck?
Yeah, that is if there's anything else you pay attention to in episode 1, it's the castle hanging in the fucking sky.
With its bad CG.
Right, it's because think about this. She goes up these tremendous stairs into the secret forest. She gets to the top, and, friggin' Saionji is like, you've never seen the castle before? Oh, and she's like, what the fuck is up with this castle hanging in the sky and spinning inside of a forest?
And what does he say? Oh, it's a mirage, a trick of the light. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, Utena is very strange in that
She's very just credulous and nonplussed.
if I see a castle hanging from the sky, I'm like, no. We have to learn about the castle hanging in the sky before we do any of this sword fighting nonsense, right? Because there is an upside down castle spinning around in the sky. What the fuck? You don't see any other supernatural nonsense in the show anywhere yet, at least.
Yep.
And even later, you see very little. That is the only crazy supernatural thing, and she just takes it like,
Because then immediately,
taking the sword from
immediately after
Himemiya's
that,
chest.
dude pulls a sword out of the girl's chest and then tries to basically cut her with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I've seen a castle hanging from the sky, I'm not gonna be too upset about seeing a sword come from a chest. That's way less than the upside down castle that's spinning.
So here's something to pay attention to. This duel happened. The duels are the show. The duels are where everything happens. So
And where all the good music happens.
every duel, try to think about who wins the duel, why they win it, what they're fighting for. Like, why are they fighting the duel? And more importantly, Utena sucks at sword fighting. Why did she win this duel? This one right here with Saionji. Why?
Yeah, it's like they barely even sword fight. It's like, it's not really an action scene. It's like they go cling, 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 cling for a little bit. Utena's wooden sword gets chopped. She's like, oh shit, you have a real sword. He's like, well, yeah, it does. The sword of Dios.
It's like, I thought you had the ring. I thought you knew what was going on.
Yeah, how come you don't know what's going on? You got a ring, you challenge me.
Whatever, I'm a jerk. I'm gonna
Whatever,
slap a
I
girl.
want to win. I don't care. I'm gonna cut your...
Play to win the game.
Yeah, so they're not playing to kill each other. They're just trying to cut roses off their chest, right?
No, each character has each duelist has a rose that is their color that they always wear on their chest.
Well, Anthe puts it there.
Yeah, well, in duels. Notice how there's every now and then borders appear around the frame with a rose in the corner spinning like a revolution. So pay attention to that. I don't want to really talk about it now, but pay attention to every time that appears because the rose is a different color all the time. You might start to notice correlations. It's kind of important. The colors of those roses match up with the colors of roses of people in the show. Also, Mickey has a stopwatch.
Well, you're going back to the student council scene.
Well, what was it? It was set to 3:12.
Well, first of all, in this episode, do you even say his name, Mickey?
You don't, I don't think.
There's this guy
Okay,
with blue hair. He's sitting there in the student council meeting. There's a girl with orange hair. The only people you actually know at the student council meeting are Saionji, Anthe, and Toga with the red hair.
Toga
is the best.
Baby.
At this point in the show, Toga is my favorite character
Toga
other than Utena.
Is the greatest. He's this awesome dude. He's totally got the best voice actor. You know, Saionji's being a bitch, slapping Anthe, and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? At the student council meeting, he's like, you can't treat Anthe this way. The end of the world is gonna get pissed.
花嫁への乱暴はよせ、西園寺。我々生徒会の存在は世界の果ての意志だ。そのことを知れば、世界の果ても決して快く思うまい。
Now, end of the world.
That's obviously an ominous name.
If I met someone whose name was End of the World, I'd ask to see their birth certificate.
Yeah, but basically the student council is getting instructions from the end of the world, right? They say they operate under the authority of the end of the world.
Dueling to what? Bring about a world revolution? They're going for something.
I don't know, but the point is, whatever the end of the world is, it tells the student council what to do. I guess it's not a democratically elected student council, but as far as we know, the student council is Toga, Saionji, Anthe is on the student council.
She's there.
According to Wakaba, she is, right? Blue hair, which is Mickey. This is not a spoiler to know people's names.
Yep.
Red hair is Jury.
Orange hair.
Orange hair. It's red-orange.
It's not red.
I guess Toga's is red because it's an anime. Jury has orange hair. And is, what's her name there yet?
No, none of those people are there yet.
She's not there yet.
No.
Okay. She wasn't there standing in the back?
Nope.
Toga's sister?
She does not get onto the student council until later when she is made an honorary member to replace someone.
All right, let's skip that then.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that other person isn't there yet either.
But anyway, the blue-haired kid, he's sitting there he's taking notes or minutes, right, for the student council meeting, and he has a stopwatch. So I guess he's writing down the minutes of the meeting.
Now,
of the
these are two
student
examples
council.
of the subtle things that happen in the show, and this is not a show you should watch in the background when you're doing other things.
No.
In the student council meeting, they're talking about what's going on, right? Now, look at earlier when Wakaba, her letter was posted, and Utena's like, oh my god, what a horrible thing they're doing, and she doesn't respond. Like, it's very subtle, but the animators and the people who made the show, that was on purpose. Like, her reaction was very subtle, but there. And earlier in the show, she was like, what do you mean you don't know who Saionji is? And she knew all about Saionji.
あら、西園寺様。西園寺？知らないの？西園寺様を。
And then she kind of made a passing reference to Toga. So subtle, all those things are there. I just can't stress enough to pay attention. When the student council, when Mickey, the blue-haired guy, is obviously the secretary because he's taking notes the whole time of everything that's being said, and he's got a stopwatch out like this. And then as soon as Saionji's mistreatment of Himemiya, the Rose Bride, is brought up, he breaks his pencil.
確かに花嫁は今お前とエンゲージしてる。だがそれは節度なく好き放題していいってことじゃない。
好き放題。
He's writing and he breaks his pencil and he's just very slightly, visibly distressed. Clearly, all is not well in the student council. He is not happy about the situation.
Yeah. But, you know, not only does he have a stopwatch, which we must assume is for putting times in the minutes, but he stops it at certain times, and then the camera always goes to it and shows you what the time was. In this episode, it was 3:12.
3:12.
So that they didn't show you the entire 3 minutes and 12 seconds of that student council meeting, did they? Right? So if you assume he started it at the start of the student council meeting and he's using it to take minutes, you know, there were things they talked about before bringing up this topic, you know, and getting to 3:12.
You've just, for now, you know, this is episode 1. Just pay attention to all those things.
You also, the other thing is people will say things casually in very quick sentences, and you might not remember them. Like, Utena is telling Wakaba about, you know, the prince she met and how she wants to be a prince, right? Because the prince she met was so awesome. And Wakaba is like, oh yeah, that's like when my mom told me I was the princess of the Onion Kingdom.
あるある、そういうの。私も子供の頃ね、ママにあんたは玉ねぎ王国のお姫様よって言われて信じてたもんね。昔からそういうおでこだったんだ。
And it's like, that's the kind of thing you won't remember, but when you watch the show again the second time and you realize in the first episode Wakaba says she's princess of the Onion Kingdom, that is not a throwaway sentence. Wakaba's princess of the Onion Kingdom. It's not a spoiler. She said it right out in this episode. And it doesn't even mean anything to you right now, but remember, when we come back here and we talk about the Onion Kingdom, I'll say, hey, remember in the first episode we talked about how Wakaba's the princess of the Onion Kingdom. Onions are on your belt.
Or other subtle things, like with Mickey's thing, when Saionji loses the duel, Anthy looks at him and very pointedly calls him
ごきげんよう、西園寺先輩。
senpai instead of sama. And that was the sickest burn I have ever seen.
Yep.
The way she says it and the way she looks at him. And notice how she was very surprised that Utena fought for her, and even more surprised that Utena won. And think again, how did Utena win? What happened? What
She
was
wished
that?
Utena good luck, even though that pissed Saionji off.
頑張ってくださいね。何をする？
ふざけるなアンシー。お前はバラの花嫁、つまり僕だけの花だ。なのに他のやつに頑張れとはどういう意味だ。
すみません、西園寺様。バカ！こんなにされてなんで奴に従う？西園寺様は今現在の決闘の勝者ですから、私を思いのままにできるのです。
But what happened there? How did she win?
It was like a joust, and then some spinning flowers, and then Saionji's flower was broken and Utena's was still in one piece, even though Saionji had a real sword and was way better at sword fighting because he's captain of the kendo team.
Yep.
And Utena is a girl who's good at basketball.
Yeah, she's just a girl up until this point.
Yeah.
Met a prince once.
She met a prince once. She wants to be a prince. She wears a boy's uniform just to be a dick to the school, and because she wants to be a prince. And, you know, princes don't wear the girl's uniform.
So I don't know how long all of these will be as we go forward through every episode, but we're not going to continue to remind you to see.
Right. Well, I mean,
attention to.
there's a lot of things that happen in every single episode that we don't need to go over. The bells ringing when the duel starts and then ringing harshly when they ends. It's like, oh.
No, there's a duel at one episode.
Saionji senpai Ding, ding, ding.
Those bells are like the judgment of the gods coming down.
Dem
But
bells.
There is an episode where the bells ring and some motherfucker tries to stab some other motherfucker.
Well, consider this, right? This is something you don't notice, right? So Toga is there with his opera glasses.
Yup.
He's standing near the bells, must be fucking loud up there, watching the duel from afar. Where exactly is he standing, right? You've got this spiral staircase going up to an impossibly floating platform in the middle with the upside down castle on top of that, right? Is he in the fucking upside down castle? He's in the forest.
He's not in the castle. We know he's not in the castle.
Right? Well, where the hell is he standing?
Yeah, so just think
Right.
about stuff like that. Also, Toga likes to say English
How did he
words
get
really
there?
derpily.
How did he know to go there?
Baby.
Baby.
Oh, yeah. Hey, baby.
かしらかしらご存知かしら
Oh, the Shadow Girls, right? In this episode, and before the duel, there's always the Shadow Girls who are sort of like the sports commentators letting you know what's going on. In this episode, the Shadow Girls are extremely straightforward. They pretty much say, hey, guys, guess what? This girl wants to be a prince. She's gonna go fight, you know, to save, you know, this girl and beat this asshole who's treating her poorly, right? They pretty much just tell you what the duel's gonna
But
be.
do you know the rules in the forest? Are you sure you want to do this?
Right. They're very straightforward in this episode, but think about, you know, what were they talking about? They're talking about what the duel is about, and they're talking about, you know, what the worries are in the duel. It's sort of like the same thing that happens in Initial D, where somebody's like, oh no, it's a gum tape death match. You can't move your arm all the way around, right? Well, in later episodes, the Shadow Girls get a little crazy, and they're like, oh my god, the monkey's going to outer space. And you're like, what? Does that have to do with anything?
It will
There's-
have stuff to do with
They
things.
always have the same purpose. They're talking about the duel that's about to happen. They appear before the duel to sort of give you the lowdown on what's it gonna be, the same way sports commentators do. Even if they're talking about monkeys and spaceships.
They're almost like a chorus in some regard. Like they kind of, you'll see. You gotta.
A Greek forum.
You've seen one episode of this.
Stick with it. I promise. It's not. It is all upside down castles, but
All the
it's
way
all
down.
upside down castles. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's an upside down castle.
but it is. That's what it is.